The silent moon, the human ship cut across the empty space, its engines whispering against the silence of the void. The lone man inside sat steady, his eyes fixed on the pale sphere ahead. The forgotten moon colony, once a thriving outpost, now stood like a grave in the sky. He had read about this place in old records. The colony was meant to be a home, a base for future expansion. But one day all signals vanished, no one came back, no answers were found. The galaxy forgot, but he did not forget. He wanted to know the truth. As his ship neared the colony, the surface looked broken and scarred. Towers stood shattered, domes were cracked, and long shadows stretched across craters. It was like a frozen battlefield, but there were no bodies. No wreckage of war, only silence. The landing thrusters fired. Dust rose around the ship as it touched the ground. The man placed his helmet on, the hiss of air sealing him inside the suit. He checked his scanner. No life forms, no power signatures strong enough to notice, only faint whispers of energy, like dying breaths of something ancient. He stepped out, his boots sinking into the dust of the moon. The colony stretched before him. Empty streets, dark buildings, broken signs still carrying faded human letters. He walked slowly, every step echoing in his ears, though the sound was swallowed by the emptiness. The silence was heavy. It was not the silence of peace, but the silence of something unfinished. Like a story that ended too soon, he felt watched. Though the scanner showed nothing, his hand stayed close to his sidearm. As he passed a row of collapsed homes, he saw children's toys scattered in the dust. A small doll, its fabric frozen stiff, lay half buried. He bent down, picked it up, and brushed the dust away. Someone once lived here. Laughed here, loved here, then everything ended. His comm crackled with static. He froze, checked the signal, but there was nothing. Only the hiss of interference. He knew he was alone, but the sound felt too deliberate. Like an echo, he pressed on, moving deeper into the colony. The airlocks to the central dome were still intact. He forced one open, the door groaning like it had not been touched for centuries. Inside, his helmet light swept across long halls filled with broken glass and twisted metal. Old posters clung to the walls, faded words reading, "Humanity's future begins here." He stopped, staring at them. The irony felt heavy. Humanity's future had died here instead. A faint light blinked on his scanner. Deep below the colony, it was weak, but it was real. Something still lived down there. He hesitated, his breath catching. This was not just an abandoned ruin. Something was waiting. He moved toward the lower levels, his footsteps echoing through stairwells and corridors. The deeper he went, the colder it grew. His helmet fogged slightly at the edges. His light cut through the dark, revealing signs of struggle. Scratches on the walls, handprints smeared in dust. At one point, he found an old door sealed with heavy locks. The metal was burned, like someone tried to weld it shut from the outside. He touched it, feeling the frost through his gloves. Why seal a door unless something dangerous was inside? He took a step back, his instincts telling him to be careful. But curiosity was stronger. He marked the door on his map, planning to return, then continued following the scanner. The corridors narrowed, leading him into an underground passage. The walls dripped with condensation. Strange for a place without life support, he heard a low hum, so faint it could almost be his imagination. Yet the scanner confirmed it, energy hidden alive. He followed the hum until he entered a massive chamber. The darkness swallowed the edges of the room. His light barely touched the walls, but he saw shapes, large shapes, hulks of machinery, old vehicles, forgotten cargo. And then at the far side he saw it, a faint glow, pulsing like a heartbeat. He froze, his chest tightening. The glow came from behind a set of collapsed beams. He climbed over, careful not to make noise, though no one was there to hear. On the other side was a control panel, cracked and worn but still faintly active. He brushed dust away, ancient symbols flickering. Both human and alien, his hand hovered over the screen. He felt something, a weight, a presence, as if the whole colony was holding its breath. The silence of the moon was no longer empty. It was waiting. Echoes of the past. The man stood before the flickering panel, his hand hovering above the screen. His heart beat fast, not from fear alone, but from the weight of discovery. The moon colony had been silent for centuries, yet here was proof that something still breathed in its ruins. He touched the cracked screen. It sparked weakly, then came to life. Dust fell from the edges as faint lines of text scrolled across. At first it was unreadable, broken words and half-formed letters, but then it stabilized. showing old human language mixed with strange alien script. He frowned inside his helmet. How could alien text be here? This was supposed to be a human colony, built long before contact with other species. He pressed more keys, the old system whining as it tried to function. Suddenly, a voice crackled through the static, not loud but soft like a whisper carried across time. It was not clear, broken by centuries of decay, but it was human. The man froze. His breath caught. He leaned closer, trying to catch the words. If anyone hears this, we failed the ship. Do not let them find it. The transmission ended in static. The man's pulse raced. He replayed it again and again, but the message was always broken. Still, the meaning was clear enough. Something had gone terribly wrong, something connected to a ship. He switched his scanner to search for deeper signals. The weak pulse grew stronger. Leading further below the colony, he followed, his boots crunching on dust and broken glass. Every step echoed like a warning. But curiosity pulled him forward in one chamber. He found what looked like a control room. The walls were covered in screens now black and shattered. Consoles lay in ruins, chairs overturned as if people had fled in panic. He touched one console and it sparked, throwing out static. On the floor he saw a cracked helmet. Inside it was still a human skull, empty sockets staring up. The man knelt silently, brushing dust away. This was the first body he had seen, proof that people had not simply vanished, they had died here. He rose slowly, his chest heavy. The silence felt heavier now. No longer empty but haunted. This place was not abandoned. It was a tomb. Further inside, he discovered a storage area, shelves still filled with broken equipment and sealed crates. He opened one, revealing food packs long turned to dust. Another held data chips still intact. He pocketed them, planning to review them later. Then, as he moved toward the back of the room, he found a door half buried under rubble. It was scratched with words carved by desperate hands. He brushed the dust away and read, "Do not open. It waits." His throat tightened. The words were jagged, rushed. Carved by someone terrified, he stepped back, the cold running through his suit. What could be behind this door that scared them so much? He marked it on his map, but did not open it. Not yet. Instead, he followed the scanner's signal. Deeper, always deeper. The lower tunnels were different. The walls were smoother, not human design alone. The patterns looked strange, curved, flowing like alien architecture. He traced them with his gloved hand, wondering if the colony had been built over something older. His light caught symbols carved into the stone. Some were human numbers, dates, and names. Others were alien glyphs, twisting, sharp. Almost alive, it was clear at some point. Humans had worked with someone or something not of Earth. The scanner beeped louder. The energy signature pulsed strongly now. He turned a corner and entered a massive chamber. His light revealed broken statues, part human, part alien. Their faces eroded. Watching him with blind eyes, in the center of the chamber was a console glowing faintly. He approached, dust swirling around his boots. He pressed a key and the console roared weakly to life. The chamber filled with sound. Voices, dozens of them, overlapping. Cries, warnings, commands, all old recordings. Fragments from the last moments of the colony. Seal the doors. They're coming. The ship must not wake. The voices faded into static. Then silence again. The man stood frozen, chills racing down his spine. Whatever happened here, it was not natural. The colony had not fallen to famine, disease, or war. It had fallen to something else. And at the heart of it, there was still a ship, hidden, waiting. He turned slowly, scanning the shadows. He felt it again, the sensation of being watched. His helmet sensors showed nothing, but the weight of unseen eyes pressed on him. He steadied his breath. He had come here to uncover the truth, and now he was closer than ever. But every step forward also felt like a step into danger. The moon colony was no longer silent. It was whispering secrets across time, and those whispers led him toward something that could shake the galaxy itself. The hidden chamber, the man pressed onward. Guided by the scanner's faint pulse, the air grew colder the deeper he went. Though there was no real air in this place, only the stale breath of machines that had been silent for centuries. His helmet light cut through the dark, but the shadows seemed thicker, like they wanted to hide something. He entered a narrow passage where the walls shimmered faintly. They were not built by human hands, they were smooth, seamless, carved with strange flowing lines that glowed faintly under his light. It felt less like a colony and more like a temple. His boots scraped against the dust as he moved slowly. Each step sounded too loud, echoing back as if someone else walked behind him. He turned sharply, his weapon ready. But the corridor was empty. Only silence answered him. The scanner beeped again, stronger now. The pulse of energy was close. He followed it until the passage opened into a vast underground chamber, so large his light could not reach the ceiling. The air was heavy here, even through the filters of his suit. It pressed down on him like a weight. All around the chamber stood broken pillars, their surfaces covered in both human numbers and alien glyphs, the two languages twisted together like vines, telling a story he could not understand. At the center of the chamber, buried beneath collapsed beams and rubble, was a door. It was massive, taller than any human building he had ever seen. Its surface shimmered faintly, as if made of metal and stone fused together. The strange material pulsed softly with a dim blue glow. Like a sleeping heart, he approached slowly, his hand brushing across the surface. It was cold, too cold, yet it throbbed faintly with life. He stepped back, uneasy. This was no simple door, this was a seal. A boundary keeping something inside. On the ground near the door, he found more carvings scratched by human hands, desperate words etched deep into the stone. Do not enter. Prison, not sanctuary. Ship must not wake. His breath caught. His chest tightened inside the suit. They had tried to lock something away, something tied to the lost ship. The scanner pulsed wildly now, almost frantic. The energy behind the sealed door was immense, far stronger than anything else he had seen in the colony. It was alive. He circled the chamber, searching for answers. At the far side, half buried in rubble, he found a console, much larger than the others, its surface cracked but still faintly glowing. He brushed dust away and pressed a key. The chamber shook softly as the console sparked. Old systems groaned, gears deep in the walls shifting like bones waking from a long sleep. The door before him pulsed brighter, its glow deepening to a dangerous red. A voice burst through the static of the console. Sharp, broken, almost screaming, "Do not open it. Do not awaken the ship. It will bring the galaxy to its knees." The recording ended in a burst of static. The man froze, sweat gathering under his helmet. He stared at the massive sealed door. His instincts told him to leave, to turn back, but curiosity burned stronger. Humanity had always been driven by curiosity, and it had brought them this far. He placed his hand on the console again. The screen flickered, asking for a code. His breath slowed. He remembered the data chips he had taken earlier. He pulled one out, slid it into the slot. The console read it, processing slowly. The chamber hummed. The door glowed brighter. He felt vibrations through the ground. Dust fell from the ceiling. He had triggered something. Suddenly, the console stopped, and the door went silent again. His scanner flickered, showing a message in faded text. Access denied. Unauthorized human detected. The man staggered back. His heart pounded. The door had recognized him. It knew he was human, but it did not accept him. Then, from the shadows of the chamber came a low hum, deeper than the sound of the machines. It was not mechanical, it was alive. He spun around, his light flashing across the pillars. The shadows moved strangely. Shifting like figures, he raised his weapon, but nothing came forward. Only the hum grew louder, vibrating in his chest. His scanner blinked red, flashing warnings. Unknown life signs detected, multiple readings. He swallowed hard. Sweat stung his eyes. He was not alone in this chamber. The silence of the moon had broken. The hidden chamber was awake. The lost starship. The man stood frozen, the hum vibrating through the hidden chamber. His scanner flashed red, showing multiple signals around him, but his eyes saw nothing. The shadows moved as if alive, stretching and twisting across the cracked pillars. He gripped his weapon tighter, every muscle tense. Then, the glow from the great sealed door flared. The faint blue shimmer turned into a steady pulse. Beating like a heart, the hum grew stronger. Matching the rhythm of the door, dust rained from the ceiling, the entire chamber trembling as if something inside stirred. He took a step back, his breath uneven. His mind screamed to leave, yet his feet held firm. His mission, his curiosity, the need to know the truth chained him in place. Suddenly, the console sparked again, throwing out lines of fractured text. His helmet translated what it could. Containment breached. Ship integrity. Alive. Awaiting command. His throat tightened. The ship, the one mentioned in the old recordings, was here. It was not only real but still alive, still waiting. The sealed door shifted, groaning as ancient mechanisms tried to move. The noise thundered through the chamber, metal grinding against stone. The man raised his light higher, and for the first time, he saw what lay beyond the cracks in the seal. A hull dark and massive, hidden behind layers of stone and reinforced plating. The curves of the structure glistened faintly, not with rust but with energy flowing beneath the surface. It was a starship larger than anything he had ever seen, buried like a corpse beneath the colony. Yet pulsing faintly with life, his chest tightened. This was not a ship meant for travel alone. Its very design screamed of war. The edges of its armor were sharp, predatory. Weapons lined its hull like teeth. It looked less like a vessel and more like a beast waiting to be unleashed. The scanner beeped again, highlighting alien markings across the hull. He stepped closer, shining his light across them. They were not symbols of ownership or decoration. They were warnings. Doom. Silence. Do not wake. The words chilled him more than the cold air ever could. He ran his hand along the hull, feeling faint vibrations beneath the surface. It was alive, like a sleeping creature dreaming in the dark. Suddenly the console activated once more, and a voice boomed through the chamber. Deeper than human, sharper than alien, it echoed with authority human detected. Access requested. Verification in progress. The man staggered back, his weapon raised. But the voice was not aimed to harm. It was mechanical, ancient. The ship itself was speaking. Lights along the hull flickered weakly, one after another, spreading across the massive vessel like veins filling with blood. The ground shook as hidden engines rumbled. The sealed chamber was becoming a cradle, awakening its child. The voice spoke again, slower, clearer. Designation human. Last air, confirm intent. The man's lips parted. He could not believe what he was hearing. The ship recognized him. It saw him as someone connected to its past, someone it had been waiting for. He whispered, though his voice shook. I am human. I seek the truth, the ship responded. Truth comes with burden. This vessel carries war. If awakened, the galaxy will tremble. His heart pounded. He thought of the colony above, the toys in the dust, the desperate carvings on the walls. They had sealed this ship not to protect it, but to protect the galaxy from it. Yet standing here in front of this ancient power, he felt something stronger than fear. He felt pride. The ship was human. Born of human hands mixed with alien craft maybe, but still humanity's creation. It was a reminder of what his species had once been. The hum grew louder, the air thrumming in his chest. The door creaked as massive locks began to unseal. The rubble shifted, beams snapping as the ship pressed against its prison. His scanner exploded with warnings. Life signs, energy spikes, gravitational shifts, all pointed to one truth: the ship was waking. He raised his hand again to the console, torn between caution and destiny. If he touched it again, the ship would rise. If he walked away, it would remain buried. Silent, forgotten, but he knew himself. He had not crossed the stars to walk away from answers. He pressed his hand down. The console roared with power. The entire chamber lit up with blinding light. The ship's engines groaned like thunder. Its weapons hummed. The walls shook as centuries of silence shattered. The ship's voice boomed once more, no longer weak but strong. Filled with command, human, you have awakened me. Prepare, for the galaxy will remember your kind. The chamber split with light, and the lost starship, hidden for centuries, came alive beneath the forgotten moon. The awakening. The chamber shook as the starship stirred from its long slumber. The man shielded his eyes from the blinding light, his heart racing as the ground trembled beneath his boots. Dust rained from the ceiling. Cracks split through the stone walls. The ship's engines groaned like the roar of a sleeping beast dragged back into the world. Lights ran across the massive hull, spreading like veins carrying fire. Symbols carved into its surface glowed with power, half human, half alien. The ship's voice thundered through the air, ancient and commanding, systems awakening, human presence confirmed, war protocol initializing. The man staggered backward, his breath catching. The ship was alive, more alive than any machine he had ever seen. Its presence filled the chamber like a giant spirit returning to claim its throne. He pressed a hand to his helmet, his comms filled with static. Then, through the noise, he heard it. The ship was broadcasting beyond the chamber, Its signal stretched across the stars, a call that would not go unnoticed. His scanner screamed with alerts. Nearby alien satellites had detected the surge of energy. He knew the galaxy would hear this awakening and they would come. The ship's hull shifted, panels sliding open, revealing vast weapons bays. Rows of cannons hummed with energy. Shields shimmered like a second skin. Engines pulsed as if the vessel drew breath. The voice spoke again. Softer now, almost questioning. Human. Identify your intent. Guide me, or I will choose my own path. The man stood frozen. His fingers trembled. This was no ordinary vessel. It was intelligent, aware, and it sought direction. He swallowed hard, his voice steady though his heart thundered. I am not a soldier. I came for truth. The ship hummed, its tone like distant thunder. Truth is war. Truth is silence broken. Truth is power reclaimed. The man felt the weight of its words. This vessel was not built for peace, it was forged for battle. Its very core was designed to bring fear. He remembered the desperate carvings on the walls above. Do not open. The ship must not wake. The colonists had feared this moment. They had died to keep it buried, yet here it was, alive, awake, answering to him. The ground shook again as the chamber walls split apart. Mechanisms hidden for centuries activated. The massive sealed door cracked open fully. Stone and steel fell away, revealing the ship in its full form. It was enormous, larger than any human craft he had ever seen. Its dark armor glistened under the light, its shape sharp and predatory, like a predator rising from the deep. The ship stretched across the chamber, wings of metal unfolding slowly as if it had been waiting for centuries to breathe. The man stepped forward, awe and fear mixing inside him. He felt like a child standing before a god. The voice returned, deeper than before, filling every corner of the chamber. Pilot recognized, "You are chosen. Take command." A ramp extended from the ship, slamming into the stone floor before him. The man stared at it, his hands trembling. He had not expected this. He was no warrior, no leader, yet the ship offered itself to him. He climbed the ramp, his boots echoing against the metal. Inside, the corridors glowed faintly with light. The air was thick, heavy with age yet somehow breathable. The ship welcomed him, guiding him toward the bridge. When he entered, the chamber opened wide. Filled with consoles and glowing panels, a single chair stood at the center, carved of metal and wires, waiting for him. He approached slowly. His hand brushed against the console, and at once the ship reacted. The bridge roared with life. Screens lit up. Data flowed in streams of light. The chair pulsed faintly, inviting him to sit. He lowered himself into it, and the ship responded. Neural link initializing. Human mind detected. Synchronization beginning. His vision blurred, and suddenly he was everywhere. He felt the ship's body as if it were his own. He felt the power of its engines rumbling like a second heartbeat. He felt its weapons hum like clenched fists ready to strike. His breath caught. He was inside it, connected to it. The ship and the man were one. The ship whispered, "We are awake. We are whole. And they are coming." The man's eyes widened. Through the ship's sensors, he saw beyond the chamber, beyond the moon. Ships were moving in the distance. Alien vessels closing in fast. They had detected the awakening and they were afraid. The man's hands gripped the console, his heart pounded. He had wanted truth, but now truth had found him. He was no longer just an explorer. He was the pilot of a warship that had once shaken the galaxy, and the galaxy had noticed. The starship's engines flared, shaking the ground. The walls of the hidden chamber crumbled. The ship rose slowly, breaking free of its prison, its dark hull gleaming under the cold light of the moon. The awakening was complete, and the galaxy trembled. The galaxy trembles. The warship tore free from its stone prison, its massive hull rising above the forgotten moon. Dust clouds erupted as ancient walls collapsed. The man sat locked in the command chair, his mind linked to the ship. His breath came heavy, yet his pulse matched the rhythm of the engines. He was no longer just one man. He was something more. The sensors stretched across space, showing him the stars, showing him movement. Alien fleets swarmed at the edges of the system. Their signals spiked in panic. Their comms filled with warnings, messages carried across the void. Human warship detected. Impossible. They were destroyed. Contain it before it leaves orbit. The man listened, the ship translating every word. His jaw tightened. The galaxy feared this vessel, and now they rushed to stop it. The ship spoke in his mind, its voice calm and unshaken. Enemies identified. 3 fleets incoming. Armaments online. Awaiting command. Weapons panels opened across the hull. Cannons glowing like the eyes of a predator. Missiles unlocked from hidden bays. Shields spread like shimmering wings. The warship was ready. The man's breath shook. He had never commanded a battle. He had never fought an alien fleet. But the ship whispered instructions into his mind, showing him how every weapon moved, how every shield shifted. It was as if the vessel had always been waiting for him. One alien fleet advanced first, sleek silver ships cutting across the black. They fired beams of light, streaking toward the moon. The warship's shields flared, absorbing the blasts like rain on stone. The ship spoke again. "Do you wish to answer?" The man's hand hovered over the console. His heart screamed yes. His mind whispered no. He remembered the carvings, the warnings. He remembered the colonists who had died sealing this vessel, but he also remembered the galaxy's laughter, the way humans had been dismissed, forgotten, underestimated. His voice came steady. "Answer them." The warship roared. Cannons lit the sky, beams of fire tearing through the void. Alien ships burst like paper under the storm, explosions rippling across space. The man felt it as if it were his own strike, power flowing through his veins. The other fleets hesitated, their signals filled with fear. It is awake. The legend is true. Humanity's weapon breathes again. The man clenched his fists. He had not meant to start a war, but he could feel it now. The galaxy was trembling, not from what it saw, but from what it remembered. Long ago, humans had stood tall. Long ago, they had built ships that even empires feared. And this was proof, undeniable and alive. The warship circled the moon, engines burning with new life. The man saw the fleets regroup, preparing to strike together. Thousands of ships, countless weapons, all trained on him. The ship spoke, its voice like steel. They fear, but fear turns to hate. They will not stop until we are ash. The man's chest tightened. He was one man against galaxies, yet the ship's presence steadied him. He was not truly alone. "Then we show them," he said, his voice hard. "We show them humanity is not broken." The warship's weapons charged again, cannons blazing brighter, shields flared like suns. Engines thundered with a sound no silence could swallow. Across the stars, messages spread. Fleets warned their leaders, empires whispered in dread. Traitors carried rumors faster than light. Everywhere the same words were spoken. The human warship has returned. Some called it impossible. Some called it the end. Others called it justice. The man sat in the chair, his eyes burning. His reflection glimmered in the screens. He looked small, but through the ship, he felt immense. He felt the gaze of billions watching across the galaxy. He felt their fear, their disbelief, their respect. The alien fleets opened fire, a storm of weapons crashing down on him. The ship roared back, its cannons shattering the darkness. Missiles tore through cruisers, shields melted under beams of fire. Explosions lit the sky like a second sun. The man gritted his teeth. Every blast shook him, every strike burned, but every counterstrike filled him with pride. He was not just surviving, he was standing. He was proving what humanity was. The ship whispered in his mind again, softer now. "They will not stop. The galaxy will gather. All will come." He swallowed hard, his eyes focused beyond the battle, on the stars, on the endless horizon. "Then let them come," he said, his voice steady. "They will learn what it means to fear humanity again." The warship blazed brighter, tearing through fleets, rising above the forgotten moon like a titan reborn. And across the galaxy, Empires trembled, legends stirred, and the whispers grew louder. Humanity has returned. The human legacy, the battle above the forgotten moon, raged like fire in the dark. Alien fleets shattered under the fury of the awakened warship. Explosions painted the void in burning colors. The man sat bound to the ship's core, his mind one with the vessel, his heartbeat matching the thunder of its engines. Yet even as he struck down enemies, more signals appeared on the sensors. Fleets gathering from every direction. The galaxy was converging on him. Not just soldiers, but empires. The warship's awakening had spread like lightning. Every leader, every power, every rival now turned their eyes to the lone human and the vessel of legend. The ship's voice echoed in his mind, calm and steady. Thousands will come. Millions, their fear drives them. They will not stop. The man gritted his teeth. His body trembled from the strain of the neural link, but his will burned brighter. He had not come here to lead wars, but fate had chosen him. The galaxy would no longer see humanity as a forgotten species lost in dust. They would see humanity as it once was, unbreakable. Feared and undeniable, he raised his voice. Speaking into the comm system, his words carried far, not only to the fleets before him, but across channels that reached deep into space. I am human, his voice rang. I walk from the silence of a forgotten moon. I carry the legacy you buried in fear. You thought humanity was gone. You thought wrong. The alien channels erupted with noise. Some cursed, some denied, some whispered in dread, but none could hide their trembling. The warship pulsed with energy, its great weapons glowing like suns. The ship itself seemed to speak with him, joining its voice with his. We are humanity, and we are awake. For a moment the fleets faltered, their fire slowed. Their lines wavered, generals hesitated, soldiers stared. The legend they had mocked now stood alive before their eyes. The man gripped the console tighter. He felt the power coursing through him, but he also felt the burden. This ship was not only strength, it was history, sacrifice, and blood. It had been sealed away because it terrified even its own people. The ship whispered gently in his mind, you may choose war without end, or a voice that shakes the stars. He closed his eyes, breathing deeply. His choice mattered. Humanity's return would not be just a weapon. It would be a declaration. He opened his eyes, his gaze sharp, his voice steady. To every empire listening, he said. His words carried through the galaxy. Remember this, humanity is not dead. Humanity is not weak. We were forgotten, but now we rise. If you come with war, you will find war. But if you come with respect, you will find allies. Choose wisely. For we are done being silent. The galaxy listened. Billions of ears hearing his vow. Some would call it arrogance. Some would call it hope, but none could ignore it. The fleet surrounding him hesitated. Some began to retreat, unwilling to face the wrath of the warship. Others held their ground, their fear battling with pride. The man leaned back in the command chair, his body exhausted, his spirit burning. He had spoken not just as himself, but as humanity. He was the echo of his people, the reminder of what they once were. The ship rose higher, breaking orbit around the moon, its engines blazing, its shadow stretching across the stars. The man looked out into the endless black, knowing this was only the beginning. The galaxy trembled not just because of the ship, but because of what it meant. Humanity was back. Humanity had survived. Humanity carried a legacy that even time could not bury. As the warship vanished into the deep sky, its voice thundered with his. Humanity endures, and across the stars the legend of the forgotten moon spread. From soldier to emperor, from slave to traitor, all whispered the same words. The humans have returned, and the galaxy would never be the same again.